Okay. I think I know this one. Scripps. 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 The Scripps National Spelling Bee celebrates its 100th anniversary with competition kicking off today. There are 240 spellers in the tournament, and 2 of them are from the North Country. We meet them on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now offering specialized home medical equipment and supplies. Learn more at KinneyHomeCare.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, May 27th. First up, Senate Republicans are voicing some concerns about cuts to SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, in the budget plan passed by the House last week. Both of the North Country's representatives, Elise Stefanik and Claudia Tenney, both Republicans, voted in favor of the budget package. Senate Agriculture Committee Chairman John Boozman of Arkansas said they'll have to look at how the billions of dollars in cuts to the food aid program would affect individual states. In New York, food providers are already sounding the alarm. Amy Feiereisel reports.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program gives low-income people and families help in paying for groceries. The House GOP bill cuts SNAP funding by about 30%, or $270 billion over the next 10 years. It does that by forcing states to take on more costs and by putting stricter work requirements in place. Republicans say cuts to SNAP and Medicaid are focused on ending waste, fraud, and abuse. Democrats say they will destabilize health care and leave people hungry when Americans are already financially stressed. New York food banks say the number of people seeking help at food pantries has increased dramatically over the past few years.
The lines at the pantries are longer than ever.
Tom Nardacci is from the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York. It serves 23 counties, including Clinton, Essex, Franklin, Washington, and Warren counties in the North Country. He spoke at a press conference in Rensselaer last week.
And SNAP goes away, the lines, it would stretch throughout the city of Rensselaer. And we're doing it to kids, seniors.
He says under Trump administration cuts to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the food bank has already lost 1 million pounds of food, which translates to roughly 750,000 meals.
That's 750,000 meals that are gone right now. And that's just a start, because the total cut is actually 7 million pounds. And then compound that year over year.
Natasha Pernica is head of food pantries for the Capital District. She says SNAP is not just a benefit for low-income people, but for local economies.
Not only are you providing people with resources to feed their families, but the economic impact on the community is more than $1.50 per dollar that's invested in SNAP. It's a win-win for the economy and for all of the millions of people struggling right now to make ends meet.
About 70,000 people receive food stamps in the North Country, or roughly 10% of the total population. The cuts to SNAP are not final, yet. Now that the House has passed its version of Trump's policy bill, it moves on to the Senate. The president has urged the Senate to pass the package as soon as possible. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
So as we just heard, the Senate is now considering the House budget package. And depending on how that shakes out, New York lawmakers might have to make adjustments to the recently passed state budget. That's because the state budget relies on more than $90 billion in federal funding. New York State Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie says it's up to Republicans in Washington to decide whether any of that funding is withdrawn.
Of the Republican president, Republican Senate, and Republican House of Representatives make devastating cuts to the state of New York, we'll come back and deal with it and remind the people of the state of New York who are the people responsible for bringing us back to that point.
Hastie says if there is a budget gap, the state's reserve funds must be used to cover the first $2 billion. The state comptroller's office recently released a new online tool that outlines the state programs that receive federal funding. Comptroller Tom DiNapoli says it details the fiscal relationship between the state and federal government.
And what could be the potential impact of Cuts on Medicaid, healthcare programs, social welfare, education, public protection, environment go down. All of those different programs that get federal funding, and also looking at, in terms of our state programs, state employees that are tied to federal funds as well.
You can access that online tool at osc.ny.gov. The Scripps National Spelling Bee kicked off today with preliminary rounds. The North Country sent 2 kids to this big show. They were there last year, too, and they finished neck and neck. Champlain Valley reporter Kara Chapman caught up with both of them and their families ahead of the competition and has our story.
2 students from the same region in a national competition. That's your basic recipe for a rivalry, right? Not when you ask Leah Rini how she feels about fellow competitive speller Micah Sterling.
It's all about the word that you get specifically on stage, not like whether or not you beat someone else.
Or, as Sterling's dad, Sean Sterling, puts it,
they're not competing against each other. They're competing against the dictionary. So it's more of everybody's hoping everybody else does well.
Rini and Sterling are repeat regional spelling bee champions in their respective regions of the North Country. That means they're no strangers to the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Rini has already competed once, and Sterling 3 times. They even tied for 22nd place last year. According to their parents, both students had an early knack for words. Here's Sterling's dad, Sean, again.
He started reading, I think, when he was 18 months or something like that. He started reading small books, and he recognized words really early. So, we always knew he had that kind of brain.
Rini's mom, Megan Rini, says her daughter has always loved words.
She used to write a lot as a kid, and she's always kept cute little journals of favorite words since she could write, probably since she was 6.
But Rini and Sterling are pretty different people. Sterling is a 7th grader from the General Brown School District in Jefferson County. He's really into athletics. He plays soccer, basketball, and baseball. He says there's some crossover between the skills he needs for both sports and spelling.
I think one thing that ties is just to keep confidence and not get nervous.
Rini is a homeschooled 8th grader from Clinton County's Beekmantown district. She loves crochet and origami, pattern-based activities, like the pattern she tries to identify in words.
In words from a certain language, each sound is usually spelled with a certain letter, and so I'd learn patterns based on different languages of origin. And then based on the information I get on stage, I can decode the words using those patterns.
That approach lends itself to how Rini strategizes when she's at the mic spelling. She likes to ask a lot of questions about the word she gets, the definition, language of origin, alternate pronunciations, part of speech.
And once I have all that information, if I need to ask something again, I might, just to confirm something that I might be thinking. And then I'll write down what my final answer would be on my hand before I spell, just to make sure I have everything in order.
For Sterling, spelling is more about straight visualization.
So when I hear the word, I try to remember the flashcard that I've been given. So if I know the word, I should see it in my head.
The 2 also have very different stakes heading into this year's National Bee. As a 7th grader, Sterling has 1 more year of eligibility. His dad, Sean, says he's progressed further and further every year.
Every year he's been down there, he's made it 1 progressive round. And last year he made it to the quarterfinals. So this year he's hoping to get onto the semifinals. And then, last hurrah, he's trying to get to the finals next year.
For Rini, this is the last year she can compete. She's studying more, putting in several hours a day leading up to the Bee to try to make it past the quarterfinals. But she's also looking ahead, beyond the competition. She wants to maintain the friends she's made at Scripps. And her mom, Megan, says, pay it forward to younger spellers.
Leah would love to be involved to help any future spellers and give tips to people, especially in our community, just because she's had so much experience. So she's would like to be available to other kids because there's a lot of awesome talent around here, and it seems like there's a lot of kids excited about the program now.
Both Rini and Sterling head into the Bee with a lot of support from their districts and their families who will accompany them on the trip. Sterling credits his parents and siblings with the success so far.
They encourage me a lot, so they're the reason why I'm here.
The Scripps preliminaries take place today, and the quarterfinals are tomorrow. You can stream Thursday's semifinals and finals on ION. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio, Beekmantown.
It's such an achievement to get into the National Spelling Bee at all. So good luck to Leah and Micah. We're proud of you, however it goes. Music today by I Am Snow Angel of Lake Placid and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.